Alright, what's up guys? Gonna try something a little different today. I've been getting some messages about setting up a car, how do I do it, stuff like that. So thought I'd record the process of me setting up a car. Don't know how well this will work, just because of the way I capture. I can't really edit it once I'm done capturing. So usually when I tune a car, it's over a course of a couple sessions, and like 20-30 minutes a session. So this will be a little bit different. Number one disclaimer is I don't know everything about tune setups, and some stuff I do know can be completely wrong, but I'll try and just talk about what I know and why I do it and all that fun stuff. So take everything with a grain of salt, and of course if I'm saying something wrong, feel free to let me know, because like I said, I'm still learning. Like, got a decent grasp on things, but you can always learn. So what I used to do in my proto GT days is I would just take the setup for the previous week and start out with that and then modify that for the next week. So that's what I'll do here. This is just my Silverstone International setup. And we'll go take it out and see how it feels. These are the first laps I've driven with the Beamer. Actually, I've been doing something different lately. I've been decreasing my min force, so I think I gotta do that real quick. No, it's already done. I don't know, the steering just felt weird. 1 second. Alright, so I'll just go out there again. It's probably just because I haven't driven the car all week and I've been driving the other three, so it just felt like the min force was on, but it isn't. So honestly, first initial impressions is front tires just feel a lot lighter in both the McLaren and the Rough. Does feel like it's going to be a little bit on the tight side. Corner entry isn't exactly desirable. I always like to use the tab screens more as some measuring tool of where I'm at, what setup improvements actually work for the car and what don't. Because sometimes it's not as obvious to your sensory inputs, but it just translates in quicker time, like on straightaways or stuff like that. So that's why it helps to have the tab screen up. And I gotta say, right now, steering feel on this car feels horrible. Just doesn't feel connected at all. But I've only done one lap. Gotta figure out all my shift points still. Just gave it a full throttle there, see what happens, and stepped out a bit. Probably would have spun out. I would have spun out if I didn't have traction control. definitely gonna be able to use some more corner entry rotation and mid corner rotation. That's pretty much, see, I mean, I just push way out there mid corner, so definitely gonna need more rotation. And again, probably everywhere, mid, entry, exit. But we'll just focus on entry and mid, and then the exit will probably be just right at that point. I like to run laps until I start to feel I'm actually getting up to a pace I'd be running in a race, so it could be 5 to 10 laps. Because I do want to get a very solid time up there with solid split, so then I really have something I can measure new improvements to the car with. Otherwise, you're kind of guessing. Main adjective that comes with this car right now is just, compared to all other ones, is just weak. And that's more just the way it feels in connection to the track. It just don't feel like I have that same kind of connection I did with the rough.
20.24.
It feels lighter in the McLaren. And the Ford's just, it's almost, you can't even compare it to the other cars. It feels like it's in a whole different class. I'm going to stop talking here a little bit, see if I can actually put in some good laps. The quicker I can do that, the shorter this video will be. Alright. Well, that's as far as that journey goes. So, what I'm going to do is, because I want a little bit more, I can tell just in those couple laps that I do need to work on the entry. So, first I'm going to look at my tire pressures. Now, just a general rule, right now it seems like around mid 180s is a good tire pressure for these cars, maybe even a little lower this week. I've got two ways I'm thinking about going this, either low on the front spring rates or the dampening. I think I'm going to do the spring rates because that's more of a major change, and then when you get into dampening, that's more fine tuning. So I kind of want to make big swings first. Then now we're too low, so we got to adjust with that. There we go. Because of course with softer springs, the car's gonna sag a little bit more, so you don't have that ride height you previously had. So you gotta adjust it by lowering the spring purchase just a little bit. With this Porsche by. So, see if I can tell how those softer front springs affected the handling. And I'm just working on a race setup right now. I'm not working on qualifying or anything like that. Don't need to go to second gear there.
Keep going.
I wish I could express how terrible the steering feels right now.
27.0.
Just dull, muted, weak. And I can't turn my force feedback up anymore because I'm already clipping. I could probably need to shift. It's weird gears through here in the Beamer. Probably have to shift up to third before I start that whole section. Thank you. So it does feel like it's getting in the corner a little bit better and kind of staying in there, but front end feels like it's kind of popping up a little bit, so it's not completely staying in the corner. It's kind of washing out and then coming back in. Something to think about. That feels much better through there. Let's see how it does in this hairpin. Again, it's good entry. Middle of the corner could use some work though.
20.29.
So for these who don't understand why I changed the front springs, made them a little bit softer, is basically because when you make them softer, just think like a spring in between your fingers, like off a pen or something like that. You know, you got a harder spring, you're not going to be able to push this, you know, you're not going to be able to get your fingertips as close together as if you had a softer spring. So with the softer spring, think of you know, your index finger being the front splinter and your thumb being the ground. With the softer spring under braking, that front end's going to compress more, and it's going to get closer, and it's going to change the whole balance of the car towards more oversteer. And then because that spring's softer, it's not going to, you know, once it compresses, it wants to release. And when it does that, it's not going to release as quick, so it's going to keep the front of the car down on the ground longer. That was kind of my thought process. But then it gets complicated when you get into, see, these are slower corners, and all those things I said hold true for slower corners. When you get the higher speed corners, it kind of goes the other way, but we'll get to that at a different time. Alright, I need to run a lap. I might have insanely too much fuel in this car right now. I think 100 and, oh no, that's add. Never mind. About 115 liters in the car right now. Put in 2 good laps and then probably make some adjustments. I still really haven't put in a good lap. It's the best I got through that section. There's definitely a disconnect with this car and the track for me. It didn't feel like this last week.
19.84.
Black flag? No black flag. Starting to get some, do one more lap. I got a pretty good rhythm going here. I think I'm starting to get about all I can out of this setup. At least, you know, driving at a comfortable pace. 19.3, starting to get close to the other cars.
Very slow on the left.
Right now, the only reason I really think it's getting loose on exit is because I have to put so much wheel into it in the middle of the corner. So, again, we'll try and get that more rotation in the car. So, looks like the front tire pressures are getting a little hot, a little high up there too. So I'm gonna take this down. That's also gonna change the spring rate a little bit. It's gonna just imagine like I got softer springs now, softer secondary springs. So again, it'll help with that corner entry. It probably did. I mean, it did drop the car a little bit, but not enough to have to adjust our ride heights yet. Can't go any lower on the front spring, so we're stuck there. I think this front roll bar is pretty stiff, yeah. So right now I'm debating in between front roll bar, which actually I'm going to do one click of the front roll bar, and that'll just get the front end to dip a little bit more. Just make it a little bit softer. Hopefully that'll help with that. Sometimes that helps, and then sometimes that hurts. Sometimes it's better to have a stiffer roll bar if it's a really smooth track, because that really helps the inside tire grab more if it's stiffer, but you just got to find the balance. So I'm going to go one click lower on that. And then the rebound, I'm going to increase the resistance. So what that means is when the springs, you know, it compresses and then it wants to come back out, that slows the rate at which the spring releases. So that keeps the nose down longer, and in theory helps with mid-corner rotation, because it keeps that front end on closer to the ground longer, with you know, keeping that shift balance towards oversteer longer. The reason I'm not doing anything to the back of the car is because I don't know where it came from, but there's a saying, you know, you only mess with the part of the car that you're having trouble with. No sense in messing with the part you're not. Yeah, it's already feeling. Of course, you always got to remember, especially when you haven't driven the car all the week, that you do get a little bit quicker just by running laps on the track and, you know, get more accustomed to your braking spots. And, you know, you're going out on your old tires and you're struggling, and you get on new tires, and all of a sudden everything feels great. And you think it's a setup change, but you always got to remember, you know, got to kind of remember what lap that was. You hit your best, like this 19.3, I think it was like the third or fourth lap I ran. So you really got to keep that in the back of your head, and then see how the car handles on that same lap, so it's as, you know, fair judgment. Because if you don't keep it fair, you're going to be wasting a lot of time. So the more honest you are about it, quicker you'll find results. It's feeling a lot livelier. Just basically willing to cut into corners a little bit more now.
.41.
Maybe that felt real good. One thing I wouldn't recommend doing what I just did if you don't have a lot of experience tuning is changing two things at the same time, because it's all going back to that honesty thing. You don't know which change actually had which effect, so until you start to understand the cause and effect of a change, just change one thing at a time, because then that's how you build your own little database of knowledge of, okay, this change will do that. Then eventually, and those weren't like, it wasn't like I changed like 5, 6 things. Like right now I pretty much limit it to 2 things that I'll change at the same time. And I was having a good lap until I started talking, so do 2 more good laps and see what happens.
20.14.
Got a purple sector back there, those are always nice. So you know you're headed in the right direction. Another purple sector. Oh, I actually made 3 changes in. I changed the front tire pressures. So, I had
19.21.
So yeah, I mean that's really the maximum that I like to do. Alright, so I picked up times, and I gotta start thinking about what the car is actually doing again. I mean, honestly, I'm getting pretty comfortable to just being able to race with this. I need to do like another 30 laps just to really get the muscle memory down. But I can also think of what else I want. Because then you start getting to the points like, alright, I'm getting better entry, but am I getting loose yet? And if I'm not getting loose, then I can probably keep going further with those adjustments that I made earlier. I'm going to do one more lap here and then make some changes.
.79.
Nope. That was more of an experimentation. I wanted to see if I could get away with taking a lot of that curb with full throttle, and I can't. See if I got any of the grass here. Yeah, I got a little bit of grass. Alright, so, you know, starting to run good time, so at this point I'll usually save the setup as a base. And I'm more interested, I'm thinking these will equalize to the rears at the end of a long run, so I'm going to leave that alone right now because it does feel good. Now, I'm going to adjust the compression. Again, this is the same, similar process to making the springs softer in the front. If you decrease the dampening, when you decrease the dampening, then it quickens the rate at which the spring compresses. So that means we'll, and you can see there it actually lowered the ride heights a little bit, and that's kind of clues into it being a softer spring there. Just barely holds the spring up, just that little bit. But like I was saying, it makes the spring compress quicker, so that nose gets the ground quicker, and again helps with turning. I didn't really looked at our tire printers as far as camber's concerned, and I mean that looks awesome. So, and we'll go up, we'll increase the not the high spring, the rebound a little bit more, you know, keep that nose on the ground a little bit longer. Again, that's the slowing down the rate at which the spring releases all its energy. So you're slowing down the nose lifting off the ground. Kind of want to mess around with, well, how far can you go? -3. Kind of want to mess around with the wing here in a little bit. We'll see how this run goes. Because in the McLaren, when I took the wing off, it kind of helped with rotation of the car. But I kind of feel like this Beamer needs that wing for rear end stability more than the McLaren did. So now we're kind of coming up on another car, and his arrow is going to start coming into play. So again, keeping with that whole honesty thing, and keeping things fair with yourself. Sometimes I'll pull out, especially if like it's right towards the end of a lap and it's a long straightaway, and all I got to do is a couple 100 meters behind the guy. I will pull all the way to the other side of the track so I don't get any draft at all. And that way, it doesn't mess up my splits or anything like that, so I'm not in the future comparing my straightaway speed versus the lap where I was, getting a tow behind someone. And then, of course, you can always reset the tab stuff if you do have a lap time that was influenced by other things other than just your driving. That was just more poor driving right there, more than anything else why I got loose. Still doesn't have the mid-corner rotation I want.
22.68.
Entry's great. Just gotta get that mid corner a little bit more, so that'll probably just be some more front rebound damping. .49. .48. Killed it through that section that time. Car really came alive through that section that lap. Went purple. Like quite a bit. Drove in too deep there. Just lost all that time. So we definitely got a car. Alright, so got a car that can run high 18-minute pace or 19 flats now. The way his car is breaking loose in that after the hairpin corner, that left-hander before that, it's kind of weird. So I'm gonna drive through it a couple more times, experiment, and see if I can really see what's going on.
Left side. Clear. Left side. In front of you. He's rolling. Clear him. Drive through it.
It pays to be patient. Times like those, it's better than wrecking your car and having to do all those laps to get back to the point where you are now. And plus, I'm not really worried about overall lap now. I don't like the way it gets to that left-hander. I'm more just worried about a couple individual corners now. I think the car will be fine just as long as I pay that corner more attention. I think that's just one of those corners you can't really get away with making small mistakes on. .32. Again, it feels good through there. Feels good through there. Feels good through there. Really like it through here. Feels good through there. Only corner I'm kind of wondering about right now is this left-hander right here. Try and set him up for the pass. Going into the hairpin. There we go.
Left side. Clear.
Thank you, sir. And then once you get a car to this kind of point, I picked this server to start. It was like an hour and 44 minutes into this server, only because there's like 2 people in it. And I figured eventually, once I got more comfortable with the car, more cars would show up. And then you can start getting into more racecraft type stuff. Once you get your setup pretty well sorted. And I'm trying to do my best of a balance between, just doing my normal process so people can see that and not trying to make this video 3 hours long. Which, if I can become more efficient tuning a car, will be better for me anyways. And I wasn't paying attention to that corner. Good job. So now we gotta go all the way back around because I wasn't paying attention. At least we got somebody keeping us company back there. This car, you can definitely do the most
19.6
power exits out of corners. Well, many power slides, even with the traction control, and I think it's on 2 or 3 right now. Interesting. I I stayed in second. I think I gained like almost a 10th doing that. It's starting to feel good. Starting to feel good. So that's good to know. It's getting better in a run. Right now I'm averaging. Oh, pay attention. I think I'll be alright. I just gotta find the optimal line with this setup through there. So, again, do one thing I always like to do when I get a car to this point, where I'd be comfortable getting this in a race. I'd be comfortable as far as pace. I'm not comfortable as far as how many laps I ran yet. Definitely need to run a lot more laps before I can race with this. So, I'll save it first. Now, look at the tires, and you can see they're equalizing now. Now I was only halfway through the run. And with the other cars, what I've been doing is I'll drop the pressures. Do it two. I'm already pretty low. Do one click. All the way around. And with this, it's not so much oh, lowered the car. Because of course now you've got a little bit softer springs all the way around, so the car goes down a little bit more. So you just gotta increase those front spring perch offsets. I think I'm going the wrong way. Yep, I'm going the wrong way. Helps if you go the right way. Okay. So this is just more of like, alright, am I faster now? Let's lower tires. It's not really like, okay, I need to be at that pressure until you've done a lot of testing with the car that season with that version of the tire model. And by, let him have a little gap. So yeah, until you, like for the V8 supercar thread, for example, they figured out with the old Ford, 190 was perfect, you know. Whatever your situation, you're qualifying, whatever. Like when you get out of the car, it should be at 190, that's optimal. So it's all about experimenting and then finding out what the optimal tire pressures are for that car. And so far, with every car, when I do this, I instantly gain more time. The car feels more secure. So I'm thinking for pretty much every car right now, the general rule of thumb is like mid 180s to low 180s, 180 flat. At least for my driving style and what I'm finding success with. That's another thing with this whole setup thing is even if the adjustments I am making, you know, have the correct cause and effect, that might not help you at all in the way you drive. If you're someone that drives insanely deep into corners, my setups probably aren't going to work for you. That's not my style, so it's just
27.5, he's moving.
You'll probably think the setup's junk.
Moving, moving.
I do love the extra drop those GT3 Fords have. It's mean looking. Things just hovering over the ground like half an inch. Both of us went too deep in that corner. So right now, I think it's an improvement with the lower tire pressures. Of course, it's only one lap.
One on the right side.
But
clear.
She feel good. That's another important thing, along with the whole fairness, honesty thing. is driving your car within the limits. You drive your car outside of the limits, you're no longer one with the car. You know, you're not really working on the same wavelengths, as the hippies would say. So just drive the car within the limits, and then when you make adjustments, you can actually get a better representation of what those adjustments did, because you're more one with the car. So any changes that happen to the car, you're gonna pick up on better. Or you're over driving the car, you kind of get this disconnect from the car, you're not really agreeing with the car, and adjustments you're making are going to be muted as far as being able to tell. Man, I lose so much time in this sector. Gotta figure that out. Yeah, everything just feels muted, so it's better just drive within the limits of the car, and then like once you get a car on rails and you're driving on the limits, there's no better feeling. That's what it's all about for me. Just having a car that's just hooked up. Just, yeah, it's fun. Especially these cars. These cars, once you get in that little place, spot, whatever, these things shine. But I'm sure it's true for any car. So at this point, this is it. This is my race setup for the week. This was the only car I was driving, and well, let's call it this is a really good baseline. If this was the only car I was driving, I was super into this series. I was going for strength of field races. I'd probably spend over the course of the week like another 5 hours tuning the car. Maybe not always. But you know, if I'm struggling with this setup, then I can easily spend that much time to. Then you know, you finally hit those epiphanies and you're ready for top strength of field races. But as far as like just having a nice, my goal this season is just to provide nice competitive setups for people that you can, depending on the strength of field, you're gonna be competitive no matter what. Like these are top 10 setups, so. Not for like super high strength of field races. I mean, I'm sure. Whatever. We'll just call them top 10 setups. But yeah, fine. That's when the hard work. But of course, people have talent. They're aliens. That's why they're called aliens. But for a lot of people, that's where those. And even when you get to the top levels, I'm sure those top guys just finding those little extra tenths are just insanely hard. But like you find a tenth and you just it's a game changer when you get to that level of competition. Alright, so I think we'll wonder where that car went. There it is. I think we'll bring it into the pits. I'll leave the video at that. I don't know, it's probably already been too long. And those of you that stuck with it, hope you learned a thing or two. I'll be, I don't know, I'll just keep throwing those out there. If you guys don't like them, don't watch them. But I think a lot of, people that are getting into sim racing will enjoy these, so. I'm probably going to do a race in a couple hours, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, till next time.